wide champion pool. Just adds to it, right? And that's what we say a lot about Jovi as well in that past matchup. But let's take a look here at the bans. We do have, of course, the Udyr and the Rel taken away right away from Damwon Kia. No Renekton this time for Zeus, and no Thresh either for Carry. I like those respect bans.
Yeah, the Kai'Sa ban coming through here as well kind of leads towards T1 looking for maybe something like a first pick Lilia here for Owner. Really enjoyed watching his Lilia earlier this week, and definitely a very strong pick for him so far here in the LCK. The Seraphine ban here, I mean, I don't see any reason why not to just grab that up, get a champion that you're fantastic at so far, and just pull that into, you know, what could be a really strong control matchup in the top side. And there it is. So, hands up here. I mean, the respect is being given already massively across the world for this new jungle player for T1, this new rookie. He's 4-0, and his AP jungle matchups have been really good thus far.
Yeah, he's been really solid so far. This is going to be his biggest test, of course. So we'll see if he steps up to the plate, essentially, and he goes on to something that he's already shown he is very comfortable on. We're going to have a Senna first pick already.
And Canyon's Kayn.
Okay.
Damwon Kia, it feels like what was some extremely intelligent drafting in the early parts of the season has felt often even comfort picked at first in some of these drafts. The last few drafts, you feel like, okay, well, I mean, we keep picking Kayn this early in the rotation when he's not going to very likely be banned away. But they turn these drafts that look like a weak start, like a confusing start, often into a composition that's insanely good at the end of the day. And sure, Renekton's banned away from Zeus here, and they know that they're probably going to be looking for an AP start with Lilia in terms of the beginning of the draft. But they still get Camille, and the same rules apply to how much you can control that.
Really?
I don't know about this one this early. It's very aggressive.
Okay.
Blind Irelia. Okay. 100% win rate, by the way, in the LCK, and that's with 7 games.
I think they're all against Gnar as well. Maybe it's like 6 out of 7 are against Gnar, but it's just a ridiculous win rate against Gnar. You're really showing your hand, by the way, when you just draft Irelia Camille. Like, just immediately, it's very obvious what they're going with here.
Yeah.
I like the Scion, of course.
The Scion you have to pick, right, in this case. I think it's very likely going to be Camille on the top side of the map and Irelia mid, but, I mean, there's some flexibility there. But against both, either option, the Scion is very strong, it's very stable. And that's one of the things about this draft. It's like, it feels very strong in a vacuum, but against Khan's Scion in particular, who's really excited about a Camille pick or an Irelia pick in the top lane? Like, it's going to be so neutered by this extremely solid rock that is Khan's Scion.
Yeah. And, you know, when you do stuff like this, you're immediately saying, you're like calling both Showmaker and Khan out and saying, like, okay, what are you playing into this? Because Showmaker has played pretty much only Syndra. He's played other stuff, but like Syndra's the most obvious pick that he's going for, and Closer gets ahead of it and he's like, go ahead, play a control mage, I dare you. Like,
yeah.
It's almost like a statement being made with picks like that.
Do we see a Syndra ban here for T1 is the question, because it's a safe option, but I don't think you're really worried about either of those. Like, the Azir is a lot more stable into the Irelia, but I don't think you care which one of the Orianna or the Syndra you face off against. The Nautilus ban is pretty good, though, giving a little bit more flexibility on the bottom side of the map, which we don't really have any hints just yet as to where T1 is going. We just know they're not going to get that insane Ezreal right now, nor the Kalista that Teddy likes to play so much. And the Victor pick here, definitely leaning towards later game damage. A lot safer than some of the other options in the mid lane versus the Irelia.
Yeah. Already you look at Damwon Kia's list of champions, and it's like, okay, we'll just wait 20, 25 minutes, and then we'll try to fight you guys. You know, they need to wait for the Kayn to get online. Senna, obviously, really great scaling alongside of Victor. And T1 have an opportunity to really try to shut it down in the early game if possible. And I love that they're like, okay, Lucian, here we go. They're just going to try to stifle out, you know, suffocate DK right in the early parts of this game with a draft like this.
I mean, I don't know about Yuumi here. Feels very aggressive, and it is going to give you a lot of early tempo potentially, but don't know how successful that's going to be. I get it's great against the Senna. I like it against the Scion as well in later game team fights. They do pick it. It's the first time we've seen it in Season 11 here in Korea. So, been a very long time. And actually, you know, the Maokai pick here is very stable against this as well. You have a lot of harass potential. I like the draft for Damwon Kia here quite a bit. And, you know, as expected, this is going to be the Camille top, Aurelia mid. Then the tempo that T1 are going to have to pull off here to get an early advantage and prevent that scaling that Damwon Kia has an obvious advantage in later on is going to have to, I mean, it's going to be so difficult to pull off. Like, you are really going to have to be pushing the issue at every single moment. You're going to have to be, like, a lot of the pressure is on Wonner here. We've called him Wonner, we've called him Owner. Like, his real name is Wonner, but everyone's called him Owner. So colloquially, that's the name everyone's accepted for him.
Yeah.
So forgive us for using both because it's a little bit tricky. But he's going to have to be making aggressive plays in both the bottom, or excuse me, both the middle and the top lanes. Non-stop is going to have to be trying to control vision in the jungle. Because if Damwon Kia just get to sit back and farm up and scale up, like, this comp doesn't work in the late game for T1 if they don't have an early lead, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, if you get ahead and you're split pushing like 1-3-1-ing,
yeah,
then you'll have a pretty nice advantage. But the team fighting comp of Damwon Kia is just insane. Like, in the late game, everybody scales basically really nicely. The Maokai is interesting. You talked about the harass, but also the potential for disengage, right? You just throw out the ultimate and you're like, okay, get away from me. If you just want to, like, kind of reset things. Also gives you a chance to, you know, set up a front to back with an ultimate like that.
Yeah, I really like that, especially against the two melee carries, you know, that we have here in the Camille Aurelia. It's very difficult to actually engage into a Maokai if you don't bait that out first, and escaping is just out of the question.
Well, here we go. We're going to jump onto the Rift for game number 1 of T1 up against Damwon Kia. This is the matchup we've been waiting for. This day has been...
It's a banger.
Yeah, it's the one that everybody's been highlighting on their schedules. Got a big red star on Saturday night. At least that's what it is here in Korea.
That's right. It's hard to believe that this is actually just Closer's second game of Aurelia career here in the LCK, because his entire solo queue and the name he made for himself that got him to where he is now is off of Assassins in the mid lane, and in particular the Aurelia, right? That was kind of at the beginning of the season, what differentiated him from Faker. A lot of people were like, okay, Closer, fast hands, mechanical god, young player, Faker, veteran, good macro play, control mages, older guy. But now it just feels like he's playing everything. But this is the champion he made a name for himself on, so it's exciting to see it come back again. We've gone full circle.
Yeah. Uh-oh. That looks like he should be fine. Just takes a little bit of harass.
Gets the ward off.
Yeah, he does. And note that Khan is going to stick around here and help out with a faster clear. This will be spotted, so Zeus can really get in there and try to push it out.
So he knows that Khan is late, and he's just going to manipulate this wave, push it further, try to get that CS lead even further. As Keria, you know, we haven't seen this champion in a while, 7 for 3, or 7 for 10. 7 and 3 on the champion.
Yeah, you can see he dies like once a game. That's actually the stat there. As Keria, what's going on here?
Well, you only get one, I guess. That's the stat.
Did I really just curse him already? How is that even possible?
You get one. There's your one.
I mean, I know it's been a while since we've played the Yumi here, but yeah, as you said, I hope that's the one and only death.
Everybody gets one, Valdez. Everybody gets one. Okay, well, I mean, this is really going to weaken the power of this bottom side from the get-go.
Speaking of power, Closer's already getting in there. He hasn't taken Ignite. He has the Conqueror, though, and one auto should do it. The flash in, and he's 2.
Why?
Oh, no!
What a huge mistake! I mean, this is not acceptable. But what a huge mistake. Got so great, you get the flash, take it, be okay with that. You never win that, ever.
I mean...
I was about to start yelling, don't follow flash, because how do you ever win that one?
This game is already off the rails.
Oh my god, that's a huge uncharacteristic mistake. Oh.
Yeah,
I mean, he's like one of the best Aurelia mids in the world, and yet he's still follow flash there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because if he was in range, he autos and he gets the kill, right? It's just, he was like a millimeter away.
He saw blood in the water, man. He had that shark instinct going, but...
If you get that kill, then this lane is like so shut down, especially when it's Lilia versus Kane. So I get it, but like, oh man, that really sucks.
Yeah, that is, I mean, these are two almost unforgivable mistakes here from T1 already out of the get-go. You can tell the pressure is on. Like, these players are feeling it.
And speaking of this matchup, Owner's getting in there. He's like, yeah, good luck fighting me. You're gonna have to flash over the wall. Owner does follow flash again. You can see, as you mentioned, these young T1 players, they really want to get in there and make the plays happen when you could just accept the flashes. But at least he is gonna push Canyon away.
Yeah, I mean, look, when Alice Nightcast won her just a few days ago, he spent most of his time in the enemy jungle. Like, he was insanely good at controlling the farm, denying camps. Shouldn't be a kill potentially here, but closer. There's a turret there, so that's going to be the end of that.
Yeah, we do have Canyon down on the bottom side. This is actually a really aggressive gank. The cleanse does come in, and that's going to be a kill for the Kane. At least Owner's over there to help the Yuumi out, but a really nice conversion already. And I feel like we turned the League of Legends knob up to 11 now. There's so much action in this early game.
Well, I mean, I appreciate the attempts that T1 made with Wunner, with obviously Closer. I don't really appreciate his attempt as much. But, I mean, look, he got a flash. There was a second flash gained right when they went for that invade onto Canyon's jungle, went into the red side jungle invade there. And then they follow flash, and it's like, we got to slow down here, T1. Everyone's getting really excited. And there's some small advantages that are being, the issue is pushed. I'm like, watch this again. This is actually insane. Like, I cannot believe they did this. So, like, obviously he's able to dash forward with the minion resets and get on top of Showmaker. Now, Showmaker flashes here because he has to. And you're just out of range. Like, I hate to say it, but, like, I think an average, you know, low-level player can tell you, you're out of range. You can't hit that auto.
이거거든. 라인 다 줘야 될 것 같아.
I mean, Showmaker's also like a little bit in disbelief. He was like, please. And then he ended up being totally fine. I mean, he knows how good Closer is as a player. This is just a really nicely coordinated dive here from Canyon.
Yeah, the power of the Maokai as well. You just click that button. The targeted route.
Like,
we're still
where are we at, Valdez? Like,
well, Owner,
like, this is too much.
Owner is just really trying to get those Raptors on cooldown. Oh man, he takes the turret shot and he gets rooted.
Yo, this game's over.
Well, it kind of feels that way, but oh man, that's really unfortunate. He was waiting for the stun, the gravity field to eventually wear off, but he was just a split second too early.
Remember when you said at the beginning, like, you know, the team fighting, like, comp for Damwon Kia is just so good, like, straight up, and we were talking about how the tempo advantage would have to be real for T1. Like, it's true, and like, to their credit, like, I mean, they are trying to get that advantage. I mean, they are really trying. But the consequences for these plays and these moves are really starting to add up. You see the gravity field come out, and then he's stuck. Like, he actually thinks he can walk between it, but he cannot. And he gets stunned there.
Ghost even emotes him. He's like, yeah, buddy, good job.
So now,
good try.
So now what should have been insane kill pressure in the mid lane is pretty stable for Showmaker. And he's actually going to be pretty happy with where we are in this game. Like, he has a kill and an assist there. 2 kills go to Canyon, so he's going to be able to get his form way faster. Like, this has just gone from bad to worse. Like, Damwon skipped the hard part of this game.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, it's everything we talked about in the draft, right? If you get an early lead with this high tempo comp from the side of T1 and you begin to split push and you never really team fight, you're gonna have a wonderful time against Damwon Kia. But now that Damwon Kia get the scale and they have control of the game, they can kind of force T1 to do what they want, and it's gonna be so much more difficult for T1 to set up the kind of game that they need to play in order to win. From this kind of an early deficit, and especially when the Kane is this online, like, it's gonna be rough. I mean, he's gonna be flying around the map really early on.
Now, to say some of the good things, you know, in the most technical sense here for T1, obviously Camille is doing fine in the top side of the map. That's untouched. She is going to eventually become a very difficult to deal with, nigh impossible to deal with, and she will have control of that side lane. Aurelio, regardless of a deficit here in the O2 and no CS lead, will become a split-pushing force to be reckoned with and has kill pressure against anyone who tries to match that, especially if it's Victor who tries to come and deal with that. So there are things in the late game that can work out for T1 in terms of map control. But these objectives that they should have had a lead for to take, these upcoming Drake fights, the Herald fight that's happening very shortly here, as you can see the vision pings are going around there. These are fights that they should have been able to take pretty handily with the lane prio they had in mid, etc. It just feels like it's not going to be realistic. I mean, it's going to be possible, but very difficult and harder than it should be.
Closer. He's trying to set up this position here in the mid lane, always trying to bait Showmaker into a spot where he can all-in him. It's going to be pretty difficult to do that. I mean, Showmaker has his flash up. He's feeling pretty good about this, right? He completes tier 2 boots early so that he can dodge stuns. That is very important when you're facing against Aurelia.
Yeah.
And he should be totally fine. He can just begin to clear waves and even avoid the laning stage against this Aurelia. And you can see Damwon Kia even confident enough to go straight for the Rift Herald, and we'll see if T1 even consider joining into this fight.
I mean, I think, you know, you in every other circumstance you really wanted to, but the rotation is so slow here. Still, there's a lot of damage output that has to be respected.
Looking for the smite here is Owner, but he's just going to be knocked up as in goes the Aurelia, but doesn't actually get to jump on the Canyon. And now the front to back here is what we were looking for. Closer is incredibly low. He's out of the fight now, but Khan is going to have to flash away. Teddy getting a lot of damage done, and Zeus will, in fact, be able to pick up a kill and get out of here. Unfortunately for Owner, though, he got caught by Beryl, gets soloed by the support. And, you know,
Win rate with gold lead at 10, 100% by the way.
Yeah, nice stat. Thank you, Riot, for that one. 14-0. And it's the 1-for-1, and they get the Rift Herald on the side of Damwon Kia.
Yeah. I mean, I think Damwon have lost like 4 games this season, outside of the, you know, like the 2-0 from Fred Brion that we had early on in the season. So the stats are going to be pretty bloated, of course, but look at where Lucian is. Lucian Yumi rotation coming up here so late. And Zeus actually plays this fight like a god. He's just flirting with Khan on the edge. And as the Vanguard's edge comes through, he actually commits in further and is able to make this a 1-for-1 trade. Closer barely gets away because the Hextech ultimatum is perfect. Then he threatens Canyon here, the exhaust comes out. And this is really well done. Beryl is trying to trying to catch somebody. Does end up getting, of course, the kill here onto Wunner at the end. But regardless of the really cool play from Zeus there, this is just a fight that T1, unfortunately, because of the rotation being so slow and the positional advantage Damwon Kia had, they had no place in taking it. I mean, there's no realistic positive outcome, but they still committed. Because it feels bad to just give a Herald away for free, especially with the comp you're running that's supposed to dominate these early skirmishes. This is just going from bad to worse. And they don't get the Herald.
Yeah, they don't get the Herald, and Damwon Kia also picking up the Drakes here with the Kayn versus Lilia matchup. I mean, Canyon is just enjoying his life so much right now. It's in a great spot, able to pick that up. We have Mountain Drake next, so it's either Ocean or Infernal Soul. We've avoided Cloud Souls for like, it's almost getting suspicious in the other direction now. We've had like 9 games in a row without a Cloud Soul. That's a little bit weird. Maybe Riot kind of flipped the switch a little bit too hard.
Well, I mean, at least they're happy it's not going to be, like if this was an Ocean Soul, it's like, oh god, this is terrible because Mountain Soul or Infernal Soul are both so good for Damwon Kia. T1 could be happy that there's a chance it's Ocean Soul. As Canyon's here.
Trying to bait him in, and Zeus is looking for the kill, the Senna ultimate.
Oh!
Just gonna save him there right at the end. Totally fine, perfect bait from Khan. And Zeus falls for it, not much he could do after he had to commit.
Oh man, this is a well-oiled Damwon Kia from start to finish in this game. I mean, there were some mistakes that got punished well by them, and there were definitely some issues here. This is definitely going to be one of those games that T1 fans are not happy about, win or lose, if they come back even in a miracle game here. I think no one's going to be singing the praises in this first map of League of Legends. I always call them maps, sorry, that's like a thing. People are like, well, I don't like it, Wolf calls them maps.
This first map of Summoner's Rift.
Yeah.
Before we get to Twisted Treeline next. And then we go to the, what's the ARAM map? The Howling Fjord?
Abyss, right?
Howling Abyss, okay. What is the fjord from? That must be a different map. I don't know. Howling Abyss,
Well, I gotta say, this is everything that T1 was supposed to have, all the leads they were supposed to have at this stage. Like, it's the opposite came true. Like, we're living in opposite land in terms of how these comps are supposed to work. So it's gonna take some miracle fights or some great map control. And I don't think you get map control without those miracle fights to even play the 1-3-1. Because if you're like trying to 1-3-1 and lanes are always pushed against you, you're trying to push those out, you're just putting yourself at risk of getting collapsed on. As this is just like, Zeus gets the hook shot and then turns around here, but Canyon's here, and if you don't know, like, it just doesn't work out. And obviously it's a really nice Senna ult to guarantee that not only the kill but the save there, so it's not even a trade.
He's doing this like mid-fight. The Yuumi is trying to ult him, and Ghost is just casually ulting the top lane while he avoids the Yuumi ult. That's just insane. It looks so simple, but it's a lot harder than it looks.
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane communication, right, between these players.
And mechanics, I mean, just to be all over the map like that. He's probably using F keys. If you're using F keys in that kind of a situation, it's a lot easier, right? You just click F1 for your top laner, and you kind of shoot it that direction.
It's also as simple too. Sometimes as Khan just saying "ult me" and you click the map, like you know, it's you know, it was really well handled by Canyon. Like they saw the pressure was coming. Canyon was nearby. That's why Khan was willing to make those trades. And if you're Zeus, like, you can't just walk away from that because you have to find something, right? This is why you see this camp out of Wonder right now. You have to get something. You have to get some sort of a lead so Zeus can get the gold he needs to actually become that split-pushing force. Because if you just sit against the most stable Sion player in the world in Khan, like, pushing minions into a turret while Khan just last hits them, he's only 30 CS behind, which is pretty good, actually. It's not enough, especially in a game like this where you're already so significantly behind, and it gets worse when you team fight 5v5.
Damwon, I think you begin to group up as soon as possible, right? They're just gonna all group up for surely up on the top side here of the river. And if T1 want to challenge them, I think that Damwon are very confident to take that fight. I don't think that they would back down from it. In fact, they're going to be the ones engaging in the mid lane. Barrel getting very far forward, and yeah, that was a bit overzealous. Canyon was like, nope, not getting in there. They are going to force the flash at a closer.
Did they or did he force the flash out of himself there?
Yeah, it's kind of an unfortunate Aurelia game to start off for him, but
yeah, I mean, again, it's like we hyped up this guy's Aurelia, and it's been target banned against him so many games. I mean, again, this is his second career game in the LCK on Aurelia. It sounds almost unbelievable with all the target bans we've seen. But this was a really aggressive play by Barrel, and he actually gets that extra follow chase because of the Yuumi animation there, I guess is why that ended up happening like that. So it was actually really well played to turn that one around, but a little bit of an overextension there for Damwon. Ends up giving T1 control for the moment, but they still aren't able to turn that into a Rift Herald, nor this Drake.
Yeah. Damwon will be able to take the Mountain Drake, which, by the way, gonna be feeling pretty good about even the singular Mountain Drake. Your Sion becomes even more thick than he already was. And we have an Infernal Soul that is coming up here. So going to be incredibly important for both teams if you just look at the champions on either side. You're going to love it. As Damwon, that's gonna be a nice amount of damage coming out from Showmaker. They're trying to siege this turret. They have some really nice siege, by the way, with Senna Victor.
And look at these, look at the builds, look at the items coming through here for Damwon. Like, Zhonya's first for Showmaker. Why not just play extremely safe? Crossfire Gauntlet out for Khan. Umbral Glaive for Canyon. He's going very aggressive, pretty standard here.
Zeus just has no idea. And,
again?
Yeah, he's dead. There's just no hope. Like, he's pushing all the way down to the second turret with zero vision. Canyon could be anywhere, right? And he just gets caught out there. That's unfortunate.
Now, I do like what they're trying to set up here, at least in the mid lane while this is happening, because, you know, Closer's going to put a lot of pressure on the Showmaker on the bottom side of the map. So a lot of extra gold is getting fed to Teddy here in the mid lane as they kind of swap these around. The 1-3-1 does allow, you know, an 80 carry, Lucian in this case, to kind of catch up and pick up that extra gold and just kind of soak that in mid. So that's one way that he can kind of try to catch up on. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
What
kind of just the way this game is going.
Yeah. When you think about the scaling, like, you're not really worried about Illusion as much. Zeus here, like you said, he has no vision, like, whatsoever. Not a single ward.
In the entire jungle.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like they see some of the red jungle and they're like, oh, he doesn't seem to be there, so I can push. There's zero vision.
And there's a bottom, like, the bottom turret was up. So Zeus was down, or rather, not Zeus, sorry, Closer was down here, pushing against Showmaker. And if there's no turret, then I like this a lot because it's like, okay, we have kill pressure on the bottom lane. Maybe you trade back a kill. You get a lot of extra split push on the bottom side. You pull Canyon away. Because they had mid prio. Everyone was grouped in mid. But unfortunately, that just wasn't the case, right? There is a turret on the bottom side, so we can't get any advantages down there. So this was just, I mean, wishful thinking or hoping, praying that the Canyon's not going to rotate. But guess what? It's Canyon. And this is not the first time this game that he's been there to scoop up the kill.
I thought you were going to say it's not his first game of League of Legends. You know what?
Certainly not.
You're right.
Certainly not his first game of League of Legends. Not his first rodeo.
Yeah.
Not his first Damwon Kia T1 series.
Yeah. I'm very curious about the Teddy on Lucian. Obviously, that was kind of just, okay, we're all in on this composition. We have to do something like this. We're not going to pick, like, Xayah now, you know. We need to actually put on the pressure in not only the bottom lane, but also mid-game. You know, the bit of a whoopsie from Keria to start off didn't help much, but he does have a nice little lead against the Maokai, as you would expect. But can he actually carry like any other kind of meta AD carry at this moment in time? I'm kind of curious about that.
Yeah, and what else could they have played here instead, you know? I mean, the champions that come to mind are like Vayne, MF maybe, like could have been something where you just kind of crush lane.
Yeah. Remember I was talking about the Maokai ultimate. That's another way. You get huge seeds.
Okay.
This is a massive Vanguard's edge as everybody's trying to flash away and Canyon gets burst down. Closer not quite able to get the kill on the Showmaker though, who will survive for an incredible amount of time. But it's really all Zeus that's getting so much value on the right side of the map here. It is going to end up being a 2 against 2 at the end of it all. And we're just trying to bully Teddy here, who should be able to try to... Nope, he's not actually. Not able to kite these two big boys.
Sion is forever. Forever and ever and ever. Not going to happen. Too beefy, too strong.
Yeah.
I mean, that was... Like, if you haven't engaged that good and you still can't turn that into a dominant win, like, that's if we had a stable early game and you have a Vanguard's edge like this, like...
Yeah.
That's when T1 fans could be screaming.
You wipe it and go
look
Baron.
Look at this. Bam! Everyone is in the Vanguard's edge. And then Zeus is ready to follow up with a hook shot. This was so well kited by Showmaker. He's actually able to avoid the sleep as well with his Zonias. He lives way longer than he's supposed to because of the items that he chose, the fast Zonias he has, and also the fact that he got an early lead. But if this is a game where T1 are massively ahead like they should have been at this stage of the game if they were ever to win it, then this fight is a wipe and it's clean. It's not Keria getting cleaned up by a Sion at the end of the fight, right? You don't get engages like that every day. This is the second big one Closer's had this season. Massive Vanguard edge value.
Yeah.
And it's still just not enough because they're so behind.
Yeah. I mean, you get a Vanguard's edge like that on Descent of Victor, you're just like clapping.
With Camille
you're already running to the Baron before the fight's even over. If the game is even, right? And you pointed that out very succinctly. But we're not in that kind of game, right? Damwon Kia, they take that fight, they ace them, and then they take the first Infernal. And we've had a lot of games like this tonight where it feels like whatever the soul is, it's been Infernal and Mountain every time. It's like, if you just even get one and you have the lead, the comps just work out where it's like, oh, it just feels like you're in kind of an insurmountable position.
Yeah. I mean, Valdez, you and I were, I share a, relatively private conversation. Oh, hold that thought. Closer's trying to have relatively private time up here, but...
Yeah, Closer's, he's got a cane on his back. Not much he can do to get away from that one. Winner is thinking about it, but he doesn't have too much else. He's not going to get hit by the Maokai.
Well, I was just going to say, of all our casting talent, especially you and Max were a little bit not agreeing with me, to put it nicely. Like, I feel like I was the only one that thought the series was going to be really close. Like, I was someone who thought, okay, this looks like a clean new T1. They have a new set of confidence. The last time these teams played off each other, we saw great drafting from T1. This was my match of the week. I was hyping up the narrative last week, and I feel, you know, like it is just face planted. Everything I was trying to set up for the beginning of this series. I mean, as soon as we had that follow flash from closer, like I regretted everything I said. I regretted saying this series is going to be awesome, this series is going to be close, because I mean, this first game is just like this insane uphill battle now for T1. That they are like they're trying to ride a bicycle that has one wheel up the steepest hill in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
kind of uphill battle. It's also icy. And they've got a heavy backpack on.
It's very windy, so they can't quite go straight. Yeah, it's rough. I mean, I don't even mind their draft too much. Like, I understand the idea behind it, but it really felt like they were forced to make things happen. And I like that they were trying, but it really kind of has fallen face first now.
Sometimes you just have to settle. You know, we see this attempt, the last chapter comes through, etc. Sometimes you have to settle for. You got Showmaker's flash, you got Canyon's flash. Like, if you settle for that, then what happens the next time you come through? Like, he doesn't have flash and maybe you kill him.
Yeah, I mean, that was level 2?
Yeah.
Right? You have huge potential to set up follow-up ganks,
exactly.
Follow-up all-ins.
They got so greedy, and
I think they're just excited, you know?
I mean, it's like they're trying, and it does feel like this all season long with this, you know, 9-man roster. Technically 10, obviously carry hasn't been swapped, but this is it does feel like T1 are playing to prove something, especially individual players a lot of the time this season rather than to win. Like, it felt like that follow flash from closer was trying to make a statement rather than being willing to say, wow, I've already got an insane advantage in this lane. And then it happened again, right? He was picked the second time. And now Damwon Kia just have like Baron buff, they have the whole map unlocked. And they're just like, oh, well, you're not even, this is the part where we're supposed to actually start to turn the game around, but in fact, we're in your base.
Yeah, this is their comfort zone, right? Like, how are you ever going to get near that Scion? They do land the bowling ball onto Ghost. That could have been a win condition for a fight, but as you mentioned, they're just not strong enough to go for it. Zeus is split pushing at the moment, as, you know, I think he should, right? There's not much that he can do unless he gets a huge flank and like a crazy Vanguard's Edge again, but I think while the Baron buff is active, you kind of just have to let Damwon have their way. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. I'm gonna take 2 inhibitors. Canyon is just doing hilarious amounts of poke, but I kind of like that Yuumi last pick as well because, well, we're having a fight here. Canyon is actually in the jungle, fighting off against Zeus, taking a bunch of damage, but immediately just pops him like a balloon. Gets that Dark Harvest stack and forces Zeus to back off.
Yeah, Zeus is gonna get out of here, but like, they end up losing a lot of control over this game further. Like, Damwon Kia, as Baron buff expire, they walk out at the perfect timing. 2 inhibitors destroyed here. The advantage for Damwon Kia. And as we head into this Infernal Soul, right? Like, if you're T1, like I said, you were praying it was gonna be the Ocean Soul. It's not. So, lots of damage output in Ghost, who's already got his Rage Blade completed. He had his Kraken Slayer for quite some time now. You've got, look at the build for Showmaker too. He's just got a Morello's just to be safe, just to stop that healing. The damage output is going to be so insanely high in these upcoming fights if they get this Infernal Soul. And even with T1 having like a slightly faster pathing to the Drake, they don't have positional advantage.
Yeah. T1, you know, they have to make a stand here. They can't let the Infernal Soul go, or else the game is basically over. So they're gonna have a go at it. But Damwon Kia with 2 inhibitors down, they already can just kind of wait it out. Wait until the super minions are on the Nexus turrets, and then T1, you know, they're gonna have to respond in one way or another. Either they are forced to engage or they go back. What's it gonna be?
I think you have to back off here if you're T1. Like,
well, they're gonna try for the Drake here. As you can see, Wonder is taking a lot of focus down, but it's gonna go the way of Damwon Kia as they pick up the Infernal Soul. A nice little fight though, because Canyon gets low. Khan not able to frontline effectively here. As Showmaker and Ghost gonna have to get away from this one. Not sure if Showmaker can, or rather Ghost. They're actually able to poke them down as they go way too deep into the jungle. You can see Teddy is desperately trying to find them or get a back or something, but he's on vision.
I think he's just waiting for game 2 with the hold positions we saw there, just spamming the S key. And I mean, teleport already on top of the Nexus turrets. This game is over, Valdez. I think it really took a turn for the worse in those first 4 minutes. Where we saw a carrier pick, we saw a closer follow flashing to his death, then dying a second time in lane, and it just all fell apart.
Oh!
Teddy!
Even Ghost gets into it. Showmaker just laughing at them in the face of T1's base, surrounded by minions. He will take down the Nexus.
Think about all